with scarves of red tied round their throats to keep their little heads from falling in the snow. And I turn round and there you go, and Michael, you would fall and turn the white snow red as strawberries in summertime.
Sound alright though. Yo, me and Kuzi, this gonna be our new single. And when you hear the story, you say it's alright though. Yo, Kuzi, why don't you give me a cue? One more cue and then I'm ready to go in.
You like when the winter's gone and all of a sudden it start getting warm. The trees and the grass start looking fresh and the sun in the sky be looking at best. Birds be singing, flowers be blooming, a lot of brand new cars be zooming. Fly girls looking the best they could be and the guys be duking and you see. Besides all that, I like the warm weather, cause that's when you can get yourself together. But I like Easter time with a grin, cause when I little used to go to Coney Island, we used to eat a lot of stuff like cotton candy. Just back then, it was like fine and dandy. You used to get dressed up in double knits and your plaid suit jackets there with the shits. The good old days was back then, and the reason I reminisce cause
it's spring again. Everybody know it's spring again. To the girls and boys and people above, this is the time to fall in love.
Now girls, have you ever broke up with your boyfriend and you felt that the world was coming to an end? Sitting around the house packed for no reason, just because you thought your man was skeezing for a couple of days, look gloomy and gray, thinking about the old happy days. All of a sudden the telephone ring, he begged for your forgiveness and you know what that brings? Joy and happiness into your life before you felt like your heart was stabbed by a knife. I'm telling you girls, keep the man that you got, cause if you cheat you might need a VD shot. You know two wrongs don't make a right, and if you did something wrong, don't do the same, it's not polite. Please don't make this breaking up a trend because
it's spring again. Oh, everybody know it's spring again. To the girls and boys and people above, this is the time to fall in love.
Now fellas, have you ever met a girl that tried to front and wanted you to act like you was on a hunt? I used to see my homeboys frown and fret for a girl that always trying to play hard to get. I know I quoted myself, I must admit, and said anything you want, you gotta work hard for it. Mean and diabolical, be obsessed, and go out for something that a girl possess? They're really on yours like a pair of drawers. They want you to be like Santa Claus. They want drug dealers and four-wheelers, truck jewelry, they expect you to steal her. Shit, I know they must be bugging. They better hit the streets and do their own mugging. But in this case, you would just overlook her, send her on the way and say, I can't help you, hooker.
It's spring again. Everybody know it's spring again. To the girls and boys and people above, this is the time to fall in love.
BKR Media production.
Welcome to the morning meeting, everybody. Or should I say the whenever you decide to show up meeting?
I said the hip, hop, the hippie, the hippie, the hip, hip, hop, the don't stop, the rocket to the bang, bang, boogie, say up, up, the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what the hell is to the dish, to the ripping, to the beat? I mean, the groove, and my friends are gonna turn to move your feet. See, I am Wonder Man, and I'd like to say hello. I do the back, to the wet, the red, and the blue, the purple, and yellow. But first I gotta bang, bang, the boogie to the boogie, say up, jump, the boogie to the bang, bang, boogie.
If the background is fake, why not change it all the time, right? All right. What am I thinking about today? I'm thinking about basketball. Tournament starts in 2 hours. Less than 2 hours. Hour 58. I thought until very recently that I would be cutting the short show to go somewhere to watch basketball. That is not the case because, hey, I've got a sick kid again. Always. There's always a sick kid. If you have 3 kids, this is like the birthday problem. There's a mathematical formula that if you've got like at least 32 people in a room, it might be 34, it might be 31. It's in that range. This is from back in the day when Mike Shope and I were both single nerds who liked math and going out to bars. And there was this birthday bet, and if you get enough people in a room, you can make a bet with somebody and say, I bet there's somebody here, 2 people in this room have the same birthday, and it's not even a trick. It's just mathematically, if there's a certain number, it is better than 50% that 2 people will share a birthday. Not the same year, but the same date. It stems from the fact that Mike and I had the same birthday. We're both born on the same day, 3 years apart. And then we got into this thing, and then we started betting out. But it's like that, except I have learned that if you have 3 kids in your house, there's a 90% chance one of them is sick. And this is not totally scientific, but from the, well, I guess the youngest is how long I've had 3 kids, right? So the youngest is 9. So we'll say he's coming up on 10. So we'll say for the last 10 years, somebody's been sick. I don't know, 78% of the time, somebody's sick. So if you got 3, somebody's going to be home. And then if that lands on the same day where your wife, who typically works from home, doesn't get to work from home, then you don't get to go watch basketball. Good news is we have televisions all over the house. I've got multiple places to watch. I've got computers and phones and screens everywhere. So I will not miss basketball due to a sick kid. There's a chance, we'll see what happens when my wife actually leaves. There's a chance the kid is smart. This is Nate. He is the, well, I guess the 2 of them are equally sports psycho. But he is the one most interested in current sports, like what's going on today in sports. That's Nate. And if he is pulling my old trick from the late 80s and early 90s about just finding a way to not go to school on day 1 of the NCAA tournament, kudos to him. He has a headache. Does he? Does he? Or is he hiding in his room waiting to make sure at noon when my show is over that I did, in fact, turn in his bracket because it had to be in by noon? And I did. I turned it in. He's got one. Drew's got one. And I reluctantly filled one out as well. Talked about this maybe yesterday, maybe the day before, but I've certainly done it in life, that filling out the bracket is not as exciting to me right now because I can't bring myself to be like favorite. And the structure of college basketball seems to be leaning toward favorite. And I'm not doing 2 different brackets. I'm doing 1. So I did 1 for me. Nate did 1. Drew did 1. They're all turned in. We're ready to go. I have 0 expectation that I'll win because I can't resist picking the other teams. 4 1 seeds in the championship round, or in the Final Four, I guess we would call it, right? Is that what they're calling it these days? All 4 1 seeds got through last year. I will never fill out a bracket with all 4 1 seeds. What's the point? But I filled one out, because what am I going to do? Tell my kids that this all sucks? You shouldn't do it? No, they love it. So I can't take them back to, Duke beating UNLV. They don't get to experience that. They don't get to experience Ty Shines or Tyus Edney. or Valpo guy, Bryce Drew. They don't get to experience that stuff. You get what you get. Maybe last year was just a fluky thing. I don't know, though. It seems like we've set up the big guys to succeed and the little guys to fail, and that's the entire system. So, I don't know. In the chat, before I even started, I don't know if you noticed, those were a bunch of winter songs. It was Winter, 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 Long Cold Winter, Cinderella, Vivaldi, Winter. How about that? There was a Zeppelin winter song. It's all winter. Today's the last day of winter. And then I jumped ahead and used Biz Marquis's Spring Again, because tomorrow it's spring again. Everybody knows it's spring again. No spring again. Spring again. Everybody know it's spring again. Biz Marquis was the best. R.I.P. Biz. 10:46 a.m. is the official, is it vernal equinox, right? Vernal is spring. Vernal equinox, 10:46 a.m. tomorrow. So day one of spring hits tomorrow. We're going to need something to deal with the snow. We invited all these people into our town to watch basketball. Luckily, it's indoors. Disappointed in the Buffalo weather. It's been an annoying winter. Not an especially snowy one. Just an annoying one. Just one that didn't start till fairly late. We didn't get a lot of snow until, did it even snow on Christmas? Right around then, it started to get a little, and then it just got frigid, and I feel like I haven't thawed out since. Although there have been a couple days where, hey, smells like the dog crap is melting outside, that day, but then it freezes again. It's coming, man. It's coming. I saw, we have an above-ground pool, and, you cover it, and you put that pillow in it, and then you get some water on it, and early, like before things freeze, you pump it off a little bit. You don't want to stress the cover. And then it turns into snow, it turns into ice. The pillow's fighting for life. And I always tend to look our upstairs, the bathroom off of the bedroom. You look out there, you get a good shot of what's going on down there. It looks like you could swim in the water. There's enough water on top of the cover that you could swim in that. I mean, you wouldn't want to. It's cold. But it's melted. It's not snow or ice or anything on top of the pool, but there is so much water. There's a part of me that says I should get the pump and drain it off, but it's such a pain to get the pump and the massive hose to run it to the street and then wrap it all up, and it's cold and it gets on your hands and it's frozen. The hose doesn't want to bend right, and the hose has been sitting all winter, so it's all stiff, and you got to work out the kinks, maybe with like a heat gun or a hair dryer. It sucks. But looking at the water, like I feel like I should remove the water, but it's just going to come back, and I have a feeling we're not going to open the pool for a while. It's going to be we'll be lucky if we open it in 2 months, right? Anytime in May. If you're open before Memorial Day, you're doing great. And, we're not there. But it is nice to hear at least that we're going to start calling it spring, and then maybe the weather will cooperate. Maybe it will listen. I'm getting this sense we're all trying to will it into existence. That's what I'm doing. I had a baseball background behind me yesterday. Just like, come on. Season opens the 25th. Yesterday was the 18th. It was 1 week. We're less than a week from Yankees at Giants opening the season next Wednesday, and then Thursday, lots and lots of action. In the chat on the screen before I started, this is great. It said, why is Gary Bettman so damn defiant about the current NHL playoff format? He says he's more than comfortable with it, even though some owners, GMs, coaches, players are publicly criticizing it. What's interesting about that popping up is that I did not know that Gary Bettman had spoken as recently as yesterday, I think, in defense of the NHL playoff format. It did so happen that today was the day I decided I'd better learn the current NHL playoff format. I make no what's the word I'm looking for? Apologies for the fact that I've been checked out on NHL and the playoffs, and so I just searched for NHL playoff format 2026. See what's going on, and I landed on an NHL. It's records.nhl.com, so that makes it official. And I scrolled down to the bottom because it shows the history of playoff format in the NHL from 1917 through now. And I scrolled to the bottom thinking that would solve it for me. And I read, there's a highlighted thing. 2020 to 2021, the NHL announces the playoffs will feature 16 teams in the traditional best-of-7 four-round format. Top 4 teams in each division will qualify for the postseason with intra-divisional play in the first 2 rounds, 1 through 4, or 1 against 4, 2 against 3. 4 teams that advance to the semifinal will be seeded by the regular season point total, with the number 1 seed playing the number 4 seed in one series and 2 and 3 seeds meeting in the other. And then I realized, oh, wait, that's the season after the COVID season. Like, oh, okay, so let's look up from there. Hub cities, the 12 participants, they did a whole crazy 2020 thing. And then they threw that out the next year and tried a new thing. And then the following year, it says, following 2 seasons in which the playoff format was adjusted to accommodate the unique circumstances surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic, the NHL returns to the format in place from 2013 through 2019. And then that makes me feel even better about not understanding what's going on, because that playoff format came into existence after the Sabres stopped going to the playoffs. So they did a thing from 2013 to 19 that I didn't need to know about because the Sabres weren't in it. Then COVID happened. They did a new thing. Didn't need to worry about it. Sabres weren't in it. Then they had a post-COVID thing. Didn't need to worry about it. Sabres weren't in it. Then in 2021, they switched back to the thing that I didn't need to worry about the first time. And that's where we are. So, before I get into the Gary Bettman of it all, I'm going to teach myself. Really, I'm going to learn whether or not what I have in my head as the current playoff format is, in fact, the current playoff format. Teams are in 2 conferences, each consisting of 2 divisions. I knew that. The number of teams qualifying remains unchanged at 16. I knew that. 12 first-round playoff berths are awarded to the top 3 finishers in each of the 4 divisions. I knew that. These teams are the first 3 seeds in each division. 2 additional wildcard berths are awarded to the next highest-placed finishers in each conference, ranked on the basis of regular season points and regardless of division. First-place finisher. All of this I assumed so far, but I haven't looked it up. And those of you who have been paying attention to the NHL and its playoff format the entire time the Sabres haven't been making them, this couple of minutes is not for you. This is for the regular people who like hockey, but perhaps haven't paid as much attention because it hasn't been worth our attention. That's who this is for right now. I'm not talking down on you if you have been paying attention. I'm saying there are a lot of us who need to be caught up a little bit. If you want that arena to be full, you need us back. If you want it to be loud, you need people like me back and interested. So don't look down on us because we sat out while you were watching hockey that we deemed unwatchable. We each made our choices. You did fine. I did fine. But it's time to learn about the playoffs again because it's coming. Okay. Where did we leave off? The first place finisher with the highest number of regular season points in the conference is matched against the wild card team with the lowest number of points. I figured that. And the first place finisher with the second highest number of regular season points, that sounds funny first, but yeah, 2 divisions. They'll play the other team. In each division, the team seeded number 1 plays 4, and number 2 plays 3. The 2 advancing teams in the West and 2 advancing teams in the East meet in the conference finals. Okay, wait. This is the part that I skipped right past. What I'm trying to figure out is what happens round 2. So because right now, I looked at the standings this morning, as I do now, because that's a part of the day. And Carolina won last night, so they're at 92 points. The Sabres are at 90 points. I want the wild card one. There we go. Carolina's at 92. They're the 1 seed. Sabres at 90 are the 2 seed. I know there are still games in hand and that kind of stuff. No games in hand for Buffalo, Carolina, though. We're even now. And the Sabres are 2 points back. It's pretty good. It drops down then to 86 for Tampa, and they do have 2 games in hand on Buffalo. So they're 4 points back with 2 games in hand. And they will still meet again on April 6th. Your wild card teams are Boston and Detroit. So right now, Boston is listed ahead of Detroit based on regulation wins, it looks like. So that means currently the 1 seed in the conference is Carolina. They would play Detroit. Buffalo would play Boston. Tampa would play Montreal. Pittsburgh would play the Islanders. What happens in the next round if they move on? If the Sabres move on, how do we seed for the next round? All right, let me have to recap some of this. But I want to understand it before I can talk about whether or not I think Gary Bettman's idea is good or bad. Or his defense of this system is good or bad. Wild card berths, first place, please them. Okay, and then it just jumps to, in each division, the team seeded 1 plays number 4, and 2 plays number 3. This still doesn't explain the thing. Oh, here we go. First round, it shows. All right, second round. Winner of Series A versus winner of Series B. So that's the Team 1 Atlantic. All right, so we're still treating it like it's the division. So that means, and again, I'm just thinking out loud, but bear with me. That's what this show is. You tuned into it, not me. I was here this whole time. I would be doing this by myself, not into a microphone and not into a camera if you guys didn't come. But you guys are coming, so I'll do it for you. So let's say Tampa beats Montreal. Both of these wild cards are from the Atlantic, so it still doesn't explain how that gets corrected. Maybe the wild card team just becomes a part of a division that they join for the playoffs. So, like, if Detroit plays Carolina, Detroit is now a metropolitan team for the remainder of, or for the next series. Maybe that's the way it works. But that's not clearly written in the rules. Regardless, that's not the part that Bettman is complaining about. Or, excuse me, that people are complaining about Bettman defending. Here's a quote, here's a story regarding Gary Bettman, longtime NHL commissioner. He was the commissioner forever, and then I went away forever. And, like, the most popular thing to do back in 2007 was boo Gary Bettman. Everybody hated Gary Bettman. 20 years ago, almost. He's still just there, still just looking the same. Got a face nobody likes. Got a voice nobody likes. He's got an attitude nobody likes. Nobody likes him. Yet he reigns supreme. He's got to be up there for, like, longest running commissioners, right? He's got to be in the conversation. This is getting uncomfortable. All right. Commissioner Gary Bettman has no plans to change the league's playoff format despite continued complaints from teams, players, and fans. He says, more than comfortable. It gives us a sensational first round, probably the best playoff first round in any sport. We're doing that now? He's been doing the greatest trophy in sport, and I think that's defensible. That's a good trophy. A trophy that you can carry around like that, that's a good trophy. Trophy you can drink out of, good trophy. We get more games and longer series as a result of the format, and you can always pick at certain situations in any given year and say, well, I'd like it to be different that year. But if you look at the body of work that our playoffs represent over time, what we have now works extraordinarily well. I don't have an opinion because I haven't watched it in motion ever, this current system. It kicked in 2013. I checked out in 2012. I checked back in now. We've had 2 other formats that we've used. Now we've gone back to this one as if it's always been that way. It hasn't always been that way. 1 through 8 I thought was all right. With 3 division winners being the top 3 seeds, you just go from there. I didn't hate that. Same as NFL, basically. It used to just be the NFL format. But 7-game series. All right, the flaws of the current system are being exposed dramatically this season in the Western Conference. In the NHL's overall standings, the Avalanche with 97 points ranked first. The Dallas Stars, 94 points, sit second. And the Minnesota Wild, 90 points, are tied for third. However, if the standings hold, one of these teams will be eliminated in round 1 since all 3 are in the Central Division. In contrast, the Utah Mammoth, fourth in the Central Division with 76 points, will get to go through the significantly weaker Pacific Division. Okay, yes. Oh, this does explain it. Right here, this explains the thing I was saying. You just become a member of the other division. If you're a wild card, you go where you go, and now you're just with them for now. I like it. Okay. They're fourth in the division. They'd get to go through the weaker Pacific. As a top wild card team in the Western Conference, the Mammoth would be slated to face the Pacific-leading Anaheim Ducks, who have 77 points in the first round. Situations like these have caused many to devalue the importance of the regular season, but Bettman scoffed at the notion. If you look at the races for the playoffs, I think it's virtually impossible to say that the regular season has no meaning. To the contrary, every game counts. Right? That's the kind of thing commissioners say, which is acceptable to me. From 98 until the NHL realigned to 4 divisions in 2013, the league's playoff format awarded the top 3 seeds in each conference to division winners, with seeds 4 through 8 filled by the next highest ranked teams in each conference. I think you could make a case that that's not super fair, too, if one division winds up overloaded. Because if you're overloaded in the division, that means you have to play against that division more often. I mean, clearly this is just half of the West is good and half is bad, and they all just happen to live in the same place. I don't think there's anything wrong with this, honestly. I mean, the caveat would be, does Minnesota want to tank to be a wild card team, to be the bottom wild card team instead of the top wild card team? I mean, the same thing is basically going to happen in the East, right? I don't know if I'm going to get this right if I try to work it through in my brain, but when has that ever stopped me? That doesn't stop me. It's Writer Radio episode 279. And I've never failed to speculate out loud because I'm afraid I'm going to get something wrong. I get stuff wrong all the time. It's not the point. So do you. You get it wrong all the time, too. Yes, I'm talking to you, listening to the show. You, specifically you. You get stuff wrong all the time. But if you're not just talking for 2 hours straight every day, you might not say all the things that you think that end up being wrong. You just don't say them out loud. I say them out loud because that's part of the thing. You talk into the mic and you say the stuff. Okay, so the wild card right now, it's tighter because Columbus is only a point out, and they're from the Metro. But the Bruins and Red Wings are both Atlantic teams. So the Sabres have accumulated 90 points playing in a division with Tampa, who's 86, and Montreal with 84, and Boston with 82, and Detroit with 82. Columbus really, I don't want to say that no one else is in the hunt here, because Ottawa's sitting at 77, Philly and Washington at 76. Maybe we could draw a line there after the Capitals. The Rangers are not going to make the playoffs. The Panthers are not. The Leafs are not, and probably the Devils are not. So what we're looking at here is it's a fairly even distribution. It's not completely loaded in favor of the Atlantic. But as of right now, both wildcard teams are Atlantic teams. And if you're the bottom one, as of right now, you'd become a Metro team. And it's not as decidedly lopsided in this conference, but it's the same type of thing. You can win a division. Winning a division, it should be something. Now, should there be fewer divisions? Maybe. Or, excuse me, more divisions? Maybe. But I don't hate this. I don't think just looking at this year and saying, wow, look at these teams. One of them is going to go out in the first round. Yeah, cool, fun. Don't be the one that goes out. This is going to be tough. You're going to have to beat 4 teams 4 times to win the cup. I think I'm Team Bettman here. I think. I don't know. I mean, common sense people who are chatting in the YouTube chat on Writer Radio are saying Bettman's nuts. And again, I'm taking this all in for the first time. How does the format work? I'm learning today. And as I'm learning it, like, Bettman sucks because of this format. I don't know. Minnesota? So who's the problem here? Minnesota? No, Dallas. Dallas is the problem? Utah? Who is it? I think we're all right here. So right now, Colorado at 98 would play Seattle. This part's tough too. There are teams called the Seattle Kraken, the Utah Mammoth, and the Vegas Golden Knights who have been introduced since I last cared about playoff hockey. Luckily, they're all out west. That's cool. I am curious to know when Columbus moved to the east. Maybe that had to do with the Kraken coming in. But that's, I won't say news to me. I've known all year. They played Columbus more than I expected. Like, hey, look at this, look at these guys in the Eastern Conference. So I'm a little behind on stuff, but that doesn't change the fact that I understand stuff. Like, I'm catching up. Where I am hockey knowledge-wise, NHL knowledge-wise now compared to 6 months ago, it's night and day. I took some time off, but I'm back because it's worth it. So I don't know that I hate that at all, honestly. It's weird. Like, it's always seemed weird to me that it's top three, that maybe top two, and then 4 wild cards would make more sense. Maybe. But I don't think this is crazy at all. It was just understanding that there was one hole in my knowledge of it, and that is the part where once you are a wild card team and you're in, you are joining that division for the next round of the playoffs. And that simplifies it. I like the math of it. I like that you're just, all right, we're going to do this, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. See what happens. I think I'm all right with it. I'm also very all right with the Sabres being in a position of power in this whole thing. I mean, is it that different talking about the 3 top teams in the West in Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota? Is it that different from the Bills and the Chiefs and the Bengals all have the same basic record, and we have the DeMar Hamlin game, and we got to switch things around, and I don't know, it doesn't work out perfectly for all 3 of you. There's no way it could. But I bet it works out great for the team with the most points. And then it probably works out second best. I guess that's the problem. It doesn't work out second best for the team that has the second most points. And is that the primary beef here? Is that the main complaint? Poor Dallas. Dallas is 2 points out. Win it and make it poor Colorado. Don't tell me the regular season doesn't matter. It matters to get the 1 seed, right? None of this stuff happens to you if you get the 1 seed. And we're talking about Utah at 76 points. They're 6 points back of what a wild card would be in the other conference. Oh, they've got it easy. Well, yeah, except they're going to lose. Unless they got a hot goaltender. I don't know. I don't think it's nuts. All right, let me read through the comments here. I already started with the Bettman thing. I said very appropriate comment, as that's what's already on my screen to start the show. Are you hacking me? Nick said, I've also seen his comments, and it's infuriating. Dan says Colorado has the most points in the NHL. Dallas second most. Minnesota is tied for third most. 2 of those 3 would be eliminated by the end of the second round if the season ended today. Ridiculous. He needs to retire. That's probably Bettman, but he's done some good things. I miss the Adams division format myself. It's just worse to me than the old 1 through 3 division, 4 through 8 wild card. Maybe it's fine, but it's worse than it was. Maybe. If it's not for the Adams division, we would never have heard of the player on Boston, Shoebottom. What a last name, Bruce Shoebottom. I remember Bruce Shoebottom. Yeah, you're probably right. But I do appreciate symmetrical. You know, there was a time, the NHL, I think when I was growing up, the NHL was 21 teams. Does that sound right? Somebody else can look it up. I don't want to get too sidetracked. But I remember, like, the NHL having 21 teams. And the math just doesn't work. You want to have 24 teams. You want to have 32 teams. You want things that are in blocks of 4. Any playoff revolves around the number 4, right? You got to get down to 4, then get down to 2, and then get down to 1. So, you know, it's weird. The NFL has come up with a way to put 14 teams in the playoffs. But I don't know. Proposal. Realign, do 4 8-team divisions. We have that. Divisions, formerly known as Adams, Patrick, Smythe and Norris is the other one you're missing there. Will be known as Orr, Lemieux, Howe, Gretzky. Yeah, no, it's naming the divisions is fine. You want to talk about naming stuff? What about the NCAA bracket? The NCAA bracket has East, West, South, Midwest, which is a weird choice if you're going with 4 different directions. But Michigan is Midwest. They're playing in Buffalo. I could deal with Michigan being Midwest. That's fine. But they play in Buffalo. What else is Midwest about this? Maryland, Baltimore County, or no, Howard. Georgia's not Midwest. St. Louis is. Texas Tech is not. Akron, fine. Bama, no. Hofstra, no. Tennessee, sure. I guess I'll allow Bama too. SMU, no. Virginia, no. Wright State is that Ohio? Indiana? Where's Wright State? Doesn't matter. Kentucky, sure. Santa Clara is not in the Midwest. Buffalo is the host in the Midwest, or of some stuff in the Midwest, actually. They do the different pooling. Like, that makes no sense, the naming there. That could just be bracket A, B, C, and D, because it's really confusing. Like, you would think, all right, as it turns out, Duke is the 1 seed in the East. Florida is in the South. Arizona is in the West. Michigan, okay, maybe it's just, where is the 1 seed from? Bracket. But it has nothing to do with where the rest of the teams are from or where the games are being played. Like, that one's stupid. This one I get. Yeah, okay, good. I'm not nuts. It was 21 teams in the NHL, and 16 of them qualified for the playoffs. That was crazy. But even then, they knew we got to get it down to a square number. You want 4 teams, so you want 8 teams, so you want 16 teams. Up next is 32. 16 teams in the playoffs makes sense. I remember when the NFL realigned, I hated it because they were going into all these tiny little divisions. It made more sense to me structurally. This is all just math nerd. Brad likes to draw brackets, or has liked to draw brackets since he was a kid stuff going on right now. When the NFL realigned, when the Colts moved out of the division, I thought it would have made way more sense to have 4 divisions of 8 than 8 divisions of 4. And it simplifies things. I thought it did. But now I see what this looks like, and it seems like maybe that's not the case. So I think it might be as simple as, I think 8-team division is right, but it might be as simple as top 2 in each qualify. Or even number 1 in each qualifies, and the other 6 are just fighting for it. I don't know. I don't hate this, though. I don't think it's crazy. Yeah, teams get eliminated. That's the way it goes. Oh, it's so sad that one of these guys is going to be gone. You know, NCAA tournament. Who do I like here? You know, it's crazy that one of Arizona and Villanova has to go away right away, or one of Wisconsin and Arkansas. Only one of those 2 teams can make it to the 3rd round. Well, yeah, we're doing a tournament. We're playing, you win, and you move on. You lose, you go home, and we're going to get rid of good teams. That's the way it's going to be. Look at every 8-9 matchup. Every 8-9 matchup, each of those teams is positive they're winning this weekend, today or tomorrow, and 4 of them are wrong. Like, that's just going to happen. It's the nature of sport. What's the 8-9? The printing is not great. My eyes are not great. All right. Either Ohio State or TCU goes away. Either Villanova or Utah State goes away. They both deserve to be there. They both deserve a longer life. No, go win. Georgia against St. Louis. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, my man Kareem. And then, what's the other one? Clemson and Iowa. One of them's going to be gone. By tomorrow, 4 of those 8 teams are going to be gone, and we move on. We get on with our lives. That's how it works. Sad. Sad but true. I did this yesterday. I want to do it again. A recap of yesterday's show. Written by AI, read by AI. In the voice of Lamar, the supercomputer, who I'm going to find a better use for than just this.
Episode 278 leans fully into the increasingly meta collision between the Sabres surge and the rise of AI as an active participant in RITER Radio. What began as a simple post-show tool summarizing transcripts has evolved into something that now identifies patterns, builds narrative arcs, and inserts itself into the show's structure. The host reacts in real time, both entertained and uneasy, as the AI frames the Sabres' recent run as a structural return to relevance in Buffalo sports life. The bit escalates with the return of the Lamar-style AI voice and direct interaction with the machine, blurring the line between content, commentary, and co-hosting. That thread runs alongside a wide-ranging conversation with Bob Gohan, who jumps in with Bills free agency concerns, NCAA tournament observations, and a pivotal Sabres discussion that lands on a defining idea: the playoff drought is emotionally over even before it's official. Around that core, the show maintains its signature rhythm, jumping from international baseball and tournament energy to everyday tangents like corned beef traditions and youth sports drafts. The result is a layered, self-aware episode where the Sabres' resurgence isn't just happening on the ice, it's reshaping the show itself, to the point where even AI can recognize the shift.
There's your AI recap of yesterday's show. If you missed 278, go back and find it on YouTube or Spotify. Time out. We'll be right back. I'm Brad Ryder. It's RITER Radio.
basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court, just like I'm the king on the microphone. So it's Dr. J and Moses Malone. I like slam dunks and taking it to the hoop. My favorite play is the alley oop. I like the pick and roll. I like the give and go, cause it's basketball. Mr. Curtis Blow. Take the girl to see Tiny play against Earl the Pearl and Will, Big O, and Jerry West play basketball at its very best. Basketball has always been my thing. I like Magic Bird and Bernard King, and number 33, my man Kareem is the center of my starting team. Here. Yes, Clyde, Rick, Barry, and Pistol Pete. Now these players could never be beat. Isaiah and Iceman too. Just give them the ball, and then you talk up too. Dantley and Wilkins are on the scene, and Ralph Sampson is really mean. Bill Russell didn't take no jump, and Dal Dawkins got a monster dunk. To the hoop, y'all. Yes. Ha-ho! Here I go. Face. Watch me. Deal. Sucker. Oh, you can't check me, man. Get on down. Oh, yeah, I like this basketball. Deal. Now, here I go in your face. Swish. Oh, yeah. To the hoop, y'all. It's basketball. Tell me, were you in the joint the night Wilt scored 100 points, or when the Celtics won titles back to back and didn't give nobody no kind of slack, or when Dr. J shook the whole damn team with moves that came right out of a dream, or when Willis Reed stood so tall playing D with desire. Yes, basketball. To the hoop, y'all. Yeah, girl. Oh, yeah. To the hoop, y'all. Shoot the pill. Baseline, slam dunk. Deal. Oh, yeah. I get the ball and then I go and play like the superstar in the NBA. The forwards, the centers, and all the guards, the ones you see on the bubblegum cards. Me and homeboy would go one-on-one, cause playing the game is a lot of fun. Sit by the TV and watch them all, cause Curtis Blow is rapping basketball.
Man, did you see that boy Pearl the other night take that thing up in Ewan's face?
Man, he's bad, but I like Michael Jordan, man.
Oh, y'all remember the old days, though? The old days of the ruckus with Dr. J used to take the whole team, boy.
Man, he's still doing it.
I used to burn him. I saw him burn Cassie Russell one night, man. It was embarrassing.
Hey, y'all see Bernard King, man?
Oh, Bernard King is my man. I like the Knicks. The Knicks play ball. They
They could play that ball.
You know, witness this shit.
Bill Russell was the man.
But Will used to take him, man. Will.
Man, when Russell had the championship rings, Will just had them points. That's all he ever had.
Jerry West.
I don't know about that.
Russell, man.
The ball, y'all. The pill. The up. Oh, yeah, to the hoop.
drive the ball. Come on, let's dribble, dribble, dribble. We can drive them all. Defense, offense, here we go, let's do our best. Come on, let's pass, pass, pass. We can move the ball.
Come on, let's pass, pass, pass. We can pass the ball.
Defense, offense, here we go, let's do our best. Come on, let's score, score, score. We can shoot the ball. Come on, let's score, score, score. We can shoot the ball. Defense, offense, here we go, let's do our best. Come on, let's block, block, block. We can stop the ball. Come on, let's block, block, block. We can block the ball. Defense, offense, here we go, let's do our best.
Come on, let's rebound, rebound, rebound. We can take the ball.
Come on, let's rebound, rebound, rebound. We can take the ball. Defense, offense, here we go, let's do our best. Come on, let's dunk, dunk, dunk. We can slam the ball. Come on, let's dunk, dunk, dunk. We can dunk the ball. Defense, offense, here we go, let's do our best.
I've heard people say Coco Melon is not good. It's like a children's television animated slop garbage thing. I've never heard it or seen it or anything before. Like, I remember my kids used to laugh and be like, you like Coco Melon. And that was like making fun of somebody. That was how you called them, I don't know, weak or childish or something. And I'd never heard it before, but in just searching for basketball things, I found Coco Melon basketball. I thought, why not? We'll jam that in between Round Ball Rock by John Tesh, which is NBA, I know, but that's not the point, and CBS college basketball music, which I don't even know if we get that anymore. Is CBS done with the tournament? Who's carrying? We'll find it. Ben Folds' 5 album, Whatever and Ever, Amen, came out 29 years ago. It's yesterday, not today, but 29 years and a day is even worse. And Andrew Wood of Mother Love Bone died 36 years ago in 1990. I believe that was today in 1990 that he passed away. That's a guy that, unless you were like way ahead of me on what was going on in Seattle, you didn't hear about him until after he was dead. And, like, obviously Mother Love Bone and Chloe Dancer Crown of Thorns from Singles, and The whole Temple of the Dog thing, I think, was a tribute to him and his emerging of bands and all this stuff. But Andrew Wood is like this legendary. He was going to be a massive star, but part of Seattle Rising seems to be built off of him dying and everybody else rallying around it. So I don't know. But shout out Andrew Wood, died 36 years ago, 1990. And then Ben Folds 5, which is, I absolutely love that album. One of my favorite artists of all time. And so I think if we get to any more music today, there will probably be a Ben Folds piece of it, a Ben Folds 5 piece of it, specifically from that album. And there'll probably be a Mother Love Bone piece of it. But, yeah, there's that. Lost my wallet last night. Listen to this experience, all right? So as much as I love having all these events that we attend on a nightly basis. I mean, it's there's always something. Tonight we have a basketball practice canceled, which is cool. So it drops us down to just a baseball practice, which is actually fairly close to home. So I'm good with that. Basketball practice canceled because there's too much basketball going on. The coaches of the basketball team are going to basketball, and everybody else wants to watch basketball, and kids are trying out for basketball for school and things. There's all kinds of basketball going on. So there's so much basketball, the basketball had to be canceled, and I'm good with that. Then we moved to, okay, is there basketball? Is there baseball? Last night, there was neither. I was like, all right, cool. And my wife gets home. She's like, you remember we have a concert tonight, right? I'm like, ah. No, I didn't remember we had a concert. And it was 4 middle school bands teaming up to assault your senses, and really more than that, assault a parking lot and an auditorium. They got to back off on the number of people they're inviting to these concerts. You get the auditorium, the parking lot, everything's jammed. There was a lacrosse game going on at the high school too. So there's like parking was at a premium, seats were at a premium. It was chaos in there. But we went, and it was cool. So it's 4 middle schools combined. My son is in 8th grade. He plays saxophone. His middle school combined with another one, they played 3 songs. Then 2 other middle schools combined, they played 3 songs. Then all of them played 1 song together, and then it was over, and we went out for ice cream, because we do that sometimes after events like this, especially ones where all 5 of us are together, my family, my immediate family, and then all 3 grandparents attend as well. And then, so we have a van. So it's me, my wife, my 3 kids, my mother-in-law, and we go for ice cream after the concert. And my parents drove separately, and they're meeting us there for ice cream, but they were parked in a worse spot. So we got started ahead of them. And right around the time we were ordering, I went, oh, I didn't bring my phone in. And then I went back to the van and looked around and went, I don't see it. Now it's dark. It's easy for a phone to fall, out of a pocket, behind a seat, under a seat, next to a seat. There's a lot of stuff in there. We have a very active family, so there's, just stuff everywhere. But I was driving. How far could it go? But I couldn't figure it out. So I go back in, and everybody's got their ice cream now. I'm like, I don't have my phone. My wife's like, did you go in the bathroom? I'm like, yeah, but I didn't set down my phone. That's where I discovered I didn't have my phone. So I went and checked the bathroom. It's not in there. Now I'm just sitting there. And I'm picturing, we just got out of this concert. And, of course, all the parents and students get out quickly. And then the last ones in are probably the music teachers. I'm like, it's like a 5-minute drive back to the school. And I'm going to sit here waiting for you people to eat your ice cream. I've got ice cream, too. I'm halfway through my little sundae. And my wife's like, well, I'm sure you can get it tomorrow. And Zach, my oldest, like, tomorrow? And that's what I'm thinking, too. Tomorrow. Says, everything that I do is communicated through this stupid device. If I had a laptop, I could locate my phone. And because at this point, I realize, almost for certain, the phone is sitting on the floor under my seat in the auditorium at the high school. And, but I can't look it up. I asked my son, I'm like, hey, can I use your phone? He's like, you can't log in to another Gmail account or Google account, whatever you want to call it. Android phone. Like, if I'm at a computer, I can type it and it'll just beep. It'll show me right where the thing is. I also have that ring thing. I can push the button. I can make the phone make noise. Doesn't do me any good if the phone is sitting on the floor in a high school auditorium while I'm 3 miles away. So my wife says, what do you want to do? My parents aren't even there yet. Like, we're already eating ice cream. We're waiting for them. I'm like, well, maybe they're not coming. Maybe they texted me, but I don't know because I don't have my phone. So she's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, I don't want to make everybody hurry up and get in the car and then drive back to the school and maybe not even get in. But time is ticking the whole time. Like, at this point, I'm positive that's where it is. But the only way I'm going to get it is if I get back there, like, now. So she's like, we can just wait here. Go. So and I'm driving. And then I think of, let's connect to Bluetooth. Because if it is in the van, Bluetooth's going to show that it's in the van. It did not connect. So now I'm even more positive. And I drive there and I, go Dukes of Hazzard style, pulling in there. And I see there are still like 5 cars in the parking lot. Like, well, there would be no cars in the parking lot if the building was empty. So somebody's going to hopefully be there to let me in. And I walk up to the front door and I see like 4 of the music teachers standing there. And one of them is the guy that I know the best because he's been my oldest son's teacher for 4 years. He's been my youngest son's teacher for a year or two. Like, I know that guy. And he knows me. I shook his hand earlier. I saw him in the hallway. He's like, hey, how's it going? So he's like, what's up? I'm like, I'm positive that my phone is under my seat. He's like, let's go. And so we walked back in. We had to take a different way because they had already locked the doors to the back of the yard. I got to go up backstage and come back out through there and then walk out and went, there it is. And I found the phone. And look, it's fine. It's right here. But what happened was I had to use the phone because they give you a program so you can follow along with what the music is. But then they turn off the lights. And I don't know, maybe there was a time in my life where my eyes worked great in the dark. But that time is not 2026. So in order for me to read the program at all, I need to use the light from the phone. And I'm not obnoxious with the flashlight. If I turn the screen on, that's enough. I can look and say, oh, it's Sousa, it's Vivaldi, it's whatever it is, whatever they're playing. But I like to keep track of that. And then I was keeping my phone under my leg on the seat. Not tucking it, I don't want to make a big deal of putting it in my pocket. Just, it's right here. And then I could pull it out and look and see what the program says. And I had it under my leg. And then the show ends and the place is packed and I'm still just seated because they told us to remain seated and wait for your kid. You didn't have to remain seated, but stay in place and wait for your kid. Sometimes you have to go find them somewhere. Sometimes the kids come to you. This was a kids come to you thing. Run into my buddy who I haven't seen in a while, and he stands and he's talking to me, and I remain seated. And then at some point I realized this is weird with him standing and me sitting. So I stood up. That is the moment where the phone went away for sure because I stood up. The seat tips back. It comes out from under my leg. I wasn't thinking about it. I was just talking about Mark and how at some point in the near future, the weather will be good enough for garage beers in the neighborhood. And that's a day that we all look forward to, right? Look forward to spring coming. Look forward to the parking ban being lifted. Look forward to garage beers. That's kind of, I don't know, that's my neighborhood with the, 6 guys that I know scattered throughout the neighborhood. That's what we're thinking about. Oh, the weather when like I go out for hour-and-a-half walks at night and run into people like, hey, let's have a beer. I can't wait. So I was so caught up in that conversation that I forgot. But good news is I got my phone back. Now, I want to say I find it difficult then, after that happened to me from going to the concert, to then be mad at my son who, okay, so he goes to middle school and he plays the saxophone. And typically, his saxophone, for the most part, lives at the middle school. I don't remember this being an option when I was a kid. I had a trumpet I had to carry back and forth every time I needed it. But with the saxophone, most of the time, I don't know if they have lockers there or they just have one room that they keep stuff in, but he is able to leave his saxophone at school. So he normally does. They had a trip as a middle school band to go practice at the high school, and then all the instruments were left there. So yesterday we got to go to the concert. He had to get dressed up, but he did not have to bring anything. His instrument was there. His music was there. Nothing. Just walk in there empty-handed, good to go. Cool. We came home last night. He had to bring his instrument back because that's not the school that he attends. So when he needs his sax today, it's got to be with him. So it had to come home with us from the middle school with a stop at the ice cream place and then come back here. And then you go from here to school, and he walks to school every day. And my wife is kinder than I am and says, oh, poor child has to carry a saxophone. It weighs 4 pounds. Well, I mean, seriously, what does a saxophone weigh? I'm interrupting my own story to find out what a saxophone weighs, but this is just the way it goes on the show. How much does a saxophone weigh in its case? Between 10 and 20 pounds? Really? Altos in cases are 8 to 12. Tenors 10 to... All right, 8 to 12. Let's call it 8 pounds. He's not overburdened. It's an 8-pound saxophone. But my wife offers to drive him to school because of the saxophone. And, of course, a drive to school means, well, I get to go to Tim Hortons, right? So I'm sure he got an iced coffee on the way there. And then she dropped him off. And then somewhere around 9:45, just before I started the show, I see her panicking and running out the door. She had to run out the door because he got a ride to school because of his saxophone, and then got iced coffee, and then got to school and went, all right, bye, and left the saxophone in the van. The only reason he got a ride to school is because he had a saxophone. And then she still had to run it back over there again. So she made 2 trips to the school already today. It's 11:19 a.m. And they're all off tomorrow for what I thought was Superintendent's Day, but they are actually calling it Staff Development Day. But also, Nate, the middle one, decided he's sick today, but I think that's probably related to him wanting to watch basketball about an hour from now when the thing tips off. But I can't really blame my son for leaving without his saxophone when I leave his concert without my wallet. I know where he gets it from, I guess, is the point that I'm trying to make. I'm going to go to the chat here. Michigan's got Roddy Gale Jr., Niagara Falls native, played for the Newport Lancers in high school. Despite living in Niagara Falls, he attended Newport in Youngstown for 2 years before transferring to Wasatch Academy for his final 2 years of high school basketball. He transferred back after that. After the basketball season was over, he came back in to be closer to home. He then went to Ohio State for 2 years, where he was mostly a starter as a sophomore. He had a really good year. Started 35 of 36 games, played like 31 minutes, averaged 13 and a half. And then inexplicably, I'm sure there's a story there, but I don't have it, transferred to Michigan. I don't know. I question if you have a soul. If you can play for both of those teams, I wonder if you have a soul. That's got to be pretty rare. And I get that if you live in like the Toledo area, there's a pull in both directions. But, man, how do you like to be the Michigan guy? Well, maybe that is fun. You're the Michigan guy in charge of recruiting kids to transfer to you from Ohio State. They hate each other. Anyway, he's with Michigan now, has been less productive, but is still a part of the team. He's a guard. He scored 15 the other day. But generally speaking, not getting a ton of minutes, not typically starting. Last 5 games, he scored 2, 6, 15, 4, and 4. So flashing in a game against Michigan State, a 90-80 win on March 8th. But that's something to keep an eye on as we progress through. A Western New York native playing in the NCAA tournament in what is essentially his hometown. Niagara Falls equals Buffalo, right? Close enough. I mean, we distance ourselves when we can, but you know what I mean. That's in the chat. Good. Coco Melon, yes, sorry, I did that. Brad, any chance you could do a live stream for a Sabres post game like you used to back in the day at the radio station? I think that would be a lot of fun. So Dwayne, who is Dwayne Steinell, who was my our intern at WEC back in the day, does exactly that. And he asked me to come on his, and I have not yet found the occasion where I watched the game and was available for another half hour or hour to talk about it. That hasn't happened yet, but he said just let him know. And he's offered a couple times, like, how about tonight? It just hasn't worked. So the fact that I haven't found time to be a guest on a live streamed Sabres post-game show tells me that I'm not going to do one myself. But, I think what you're talking about here is what about the playoffs? I don't think I'm needed. Honestly, I don't think I'm needed. I did that. So when I was at GR and we didn't have the games. The games must have been on like 104.1 at the time. But I was working, 6 to 10 or whatever, 7 to 10, 7 to 11. I don't know. I was evenings. And the Sabres would be on, and we'd be watching the Sabres. And then when the game ended, we're just like, all right, well, let's do a post-game show. We saw it. We've got Paul down there. He's getting us audio. We've got the press conference. Like, it was cool. We didn't have to have the games to do a post-game show. And at the time, I was being paid to host a show at night on a sports station. So to talk about the sport that just happened made sense. To just do that for fun does not make sense to me. I'd rather just watch the game and then do something else. That said, Dwayne invited me, and I'll do that at some point. Maybe tonight. Maybe tonight's the night. Although I feel like I'll be bouncing between hockey and basketball and not fully equipped to have like 100% full-on conversation about 60 minutes of Sabres action. But I do plan to watch. Like, I woke up thinking about the standings, thinking about the schedule. But I also woke up thinking about brackets and basketball and going out to watch the game, except I got a sick kid again. Good job, Curtis Blow, with the Bernard King reference, one of my favorites when he played for the Nets. Oh, it's Paul Peck. Hey, everybody, Paul Peck has joined the chat. Hi, Paul. Dan says, might as well play for the Yankees and then immediately sign with the Red Sox. Like Johnny Damon did. Yeah. I get that one. And, well, I was going to say that involved a bunch of money. This probably involved a significant portion of money, too. That's NIL. It's just, this is the current situation, Which is, we'll see. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. But I think last year's tournament was subpar. NCAA tournament was subpar. And I think it's because of all the transfers and all the money and all just the different structure. I want to see some upsets. I want to see some craziness. I want to see buzzer beaters. I want to see all the stuff that made people my age love the NCAA tournament. Because lately it hasn't been there. And let's just hope it fixes itself. The one nice thing about basketball, to me, college basketball, is that anyone can get hot. Like, you're probably going to end up over the course of 40 minutes. It probably goes away. But any group of 5 Division I college basketball players can have a great 20 minutes against any other one. You're playing great. You're not playing great. It used to happen more because you had guys staying for 4 years, and now you're going up against the young, upstart, one-and-done type of team. And they're not a team, but they're more talented, and you're a great team, and you play hustle defense, and you got the guy that slaps the floor, and you got all that stuff. And that used to find a way to win more often than it does. But, that's the hope here, is that part shines through. And some of these lesser-known teams, lesser or not at all paid teams, can go out there and compete and make one or two of them make a run here. Let's bring the madness back to March, as opposed to just March math, where 1 beats 16 and 2 beats 15 and 3 beats 14. Like, let's do some stuff. This is a good day to remind you no one cares about your bracket. It's on the short list of, like, your golf game, your fantasy football team, your bracket. No one cares. People do care about bets, I think. You talk about bad beats. I'll listen to that story. But, I had this team in this bracket, and I had this team. Now, I do not apply that to my house, because I've got a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old who are just totally into it, and I've got this happening, and I've got I will listen to them. They're children. Adults, though, nobody cares about your bracket. I wouldn't go any farther than I do care who you have as your champion. But that's it. No, I've got them in my Final Four, so if this happens and then this happens and I'm rooting for that, no. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. That said, I want you to be interested in my bracket because I filled it out as if it's 10 years ago. I did not factor in. I shouldn't say I didn't factor in. I did not succumb to the pressure to just slide everyone through based on seed, which I think is, it was pulling at me. It was tugging at me. But I'm trying to will into existence a more exciting tournament. I do not in any way expect to win with the way I filled out my bracket. As I said earlier, I considered not doing one because it's the stuff that happens does not align with the stuff that I tend to predict. I've won these things before or been in the hunt for them before. Both. I've done both of those. But it's a different era right now, and my style of, just chaos on the bracket, it doesn't happen. But I'm trying it again. And this might be it. This might be the last one I fill out until the entire structure and format of college athletics reverts. It's not going to revert, but until it does, reverts to the stuff that I loved, I might just be done. But what the hell, I'll throw in $10 for this. So there we are. Dan says, don't forget to have Andy Garrigan call in and Chris Rindak and Ryan Nagelhout. Right. And what's his name? Mike. Remember Mike? Right. He says to no one. Mike Klein. Chris Gullo. Godfather. We had the best interns. And by best, I mean just most entertaining. We had a good group of guys when we were at WEC, and it was me and Scott Wilson and Corey Griswold and Nick Mendola, and specifically me and Scott working together. We had an intern, and then we were just like chain smoking him, where it was like, all right, bring in that guy. All right, you teach him what to do. And the next thing you know, we got another one. All right, you two teach him. And then they just taught each other stuff. We didn't have to teach them anything. And then we just bring them on and talk about time travel or whatever. Then you discover amazing things. Like that Dwayne thought the first capital of the United States was Charlotte. It was great. All right, what else is here? I don't have anything else written down. Spring, saxophone, phone, wallet, NCAA tournament, Ben Folds, Andrew Woods, Sabres, standings, and Bettman, and it's 11:30. Can I quit? I could just quit. I brought up the birthday problem earlier. I said there's a certain number, and it's the lower number than you would think, of people you have to have in a room to have a better than 50-50 probability that two of them have the same birthday. And by day, I said birthday. The way I said it made it sound weird, but like birth month and day, not year. I'm November 7th. If there are, as it turns out, 23 people needed in a room, not for the probability of there being another November 7th, but for someone to match up. It's explained as a veridical paradox. It seems wrong at first glance, but it's in fact true. While it may seem surprising that only 23 individuals are required to reach a 50% probability of having a shared birthday, this result is made more intuitive by considering that the birthday comparisons will be made between every possible pair of individuals. So with 23 individuals, there are 253 possible pairs. Double that gets us over 365. So that, I don't know, I added that part in, but I think that's the part that makes sense. If you've got 23 there, it's 23 times 22 divided by 2, which equals 253. So yeah, if you've got 23 people in a room, more than likely, or no, 23 is 50%. 24 gets you over the hump. Once you get to like 50, you're nearing 100% probability of a pair. And even that seems crazy. But it's not. It's real. It's math. Ray, Walter. I can't. Ray's got an extra ticket if I could be downtown by 1:30. I could be downtown by 1:30 if I didn't have a sick kid. All right, if nothing else, Ray, what you have done is given me an opportunity to say I'm shutting the show down because I need to find out if that is a possibility of getting downtown by 1:30. Because I am in for that if I can make it work. I got to look. We've got baseball tonight. This is a reason to end the show. I already kind of was like, I'm going to wrap it up because I was thinking I was going to wrap it up to go out to watch a game, but I can't because my wife's not home. But what time's she getting home? And can I get home or get downtown? I do like basketball. I do like Ray Walter. Oh, man. All right, well, first off, thank you, Ray Walter, for the offer. And I apologize that offer is enough to put me over the top to say I'm ending the show early today. I'll put on those songs I mentioned, do Chloe Dancer, Crown of Thorns, and then something from Ben Folds Five's Whatever and Ever Amen, in tribute to that album coming out 29 years ago and Andrew Wood dying 36 years ago. Enjoy basketball and the Sabres tonight, and I'll be back with you tomorrow. Yeah, Ray. Wow, Ray not offering all of us tickets and causing the show to end early. I wanted to end the show early anyway. I probably can't go, but Ray, I'll be in touch, and I thank you for the offer. Now listen to old music, and I'll join you tomorrow at 10 on Writer Radio. Bye.
It's the kind that leaves me substitute teacher. This bottle's not a pretty sight. I owe the man some money, so I'm turning over, honey. Say, Mr. Faded Glory is a once again a doing time. Yeah. And this is my kind of love. It's the kind of moves on. It's the kind that leads me along. Yes, it does. And this is my kind of love. It's the kind that moves on. It's the kind that it'll leave me alone. Like a crown of thorns. It's all who you know, yeah. So don't burn your bridges, woman, 'cause someday, about your masterpiece. Watch the Rockford Files, we call to see if Paul can score some weed. Do you never rest? Fight the battle, who could care less? Unearned unhappiness. Well, that's alright, I guess. I've got this great idea. Why don't we pitch it to the Franklin fucking men? 5 portraits of General Apathy and Major Boredom singing whatever and never, amen. Oh well, maybe not. I'll try again. Well, this should cheer you up for sure. See, I've got your old ID, and you're all dressed up like the Cure. You never rest. Fight a battle, who could care less? Unearned unhappiness. You're my hero, I confess.
What are you doing for lunch?
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place.
Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
You get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?